I mean, Jesus. Just do the thing, right? Oh, what is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 56 of the Hot Stove Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Nunez. Here, as per usual, with Mark, Josh, and Austin, we also have a special guest on this episode. That's Adam Plumbum Powellberry.
Come on, man.
Sham. Josh invited him on the show because he helped out with some tech stuff like 5 minutes ago. But we're lucky. We're happy to have him. Adam is always a welcome addition on the show. He's been on here a few times. We got some great stuff coming today, and he for sure will contribute. So that's good. It's actually contribution under penalty of execution. You know, if he doesn't contribute to the show, there will be grave consequences. So, anyways, some housekeeping notes. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at HotStovePod. That's at HotStovePod on Twitter. Here on the YouTube side, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that jazz. There wasn't a radio show this morning. A lot of stuff going on. I got a lot of work to do. It is what it is. Who cares, right? There will be one next week, so make sure to tune in next week, March 7th, March 8th is next Tuesday, for last radio show before spring break. So we'll be off for another week after that. That's beside the point. What else? I got some new articles up on Grapevine Media. They're all over my Twitter. I put out a article ranking my top 25 Kanye West songs. And then I put out a review of the new Foo Fighters movie, Studio 666. I went and saw that on Saturday, I think it was, and put out a review of that. So go check those out if you want. Go listen to What's in the Box Score with Mark and Rick Wiener.
New episode got uploaded 5 minutes ago.
Hey.
There you go. New episode was uploaded. Well, to be fair, new episode was uploaded last night.
Yes, I'm going to tweet about it now, so you'll be able to go back on my Twitter.
Mark is going to tweet about it last night, so you can go to his Twitter and see his tweet yesterday about the new podcast episode. Also, listen to Outside the Box Score every Friday at 2 p.m. on Colorcast, where we give our sham picks of the week, and none of us hit because we're literally awful at gambling.
Terrible. The worst.
Terrible. Josh is frozen. Adam and Austin, are you still with us?
I am.
Okay.
Yes.
At least Austin is.
Adam is as well.
Okay. Adam is as well. Josh is nowhere to be seen. Some interesting stuff going on here in terms of regulation of daily fantasy sports in Connecticut. I bring this up as a means to talk about our contest from the Honda Classic this past weekend, where we didn't do very well, generally speaking. You know, Genesis Classic, we had some pretty high scores in there. This time, Austin came in last place last weekend with 97.4. And surprisingly enough, Chase Koepka was third
One of the top guys
in scoring.
Yeah, I didn't have a guy make the cut.
I'm seeing that now, actually. Chase Koepka scored more points than both Sung J Im and Matt Wolff.
Wasn't Matt Wolff like 17 over?
Yeah, he went 6 over on Saturday.
Yeah, he could have been.
Yeah, he got -5 points. So that wasn't good. And then Josh came in third with 142.4, and Mark came in second with 187.8. And then I came in first with 261. My second straight golf victory. I cannot be stopped, even if Tommy Fleetwood sucks. Mediocrity won out this week. But what I mean to say by that is that I don't really know what the hell we're going to do for these FanDuel contests moving forward, because I got a thing from FanDuel support the other day that apparently FanDuel is no longer allowed to accept paid entries in Connecticut for some reason. I don't know what the hell was up with that. That's weird. Josh is back.
I'm back.
Sorry, I was just stalling so we could give you time to come back before this game that we're about to.
Thank you very much.
But anyways, we'll see what happens with the FanDuel stuff. We did go over the FanDuel contest, and how Austin didn't have a single golfer make the cut.
Did I win?
No, you came in third. So we do have some good content for you today. We're going to be talking about our top 5 athletes that we would want to accompany us in a bar fight. This is the kind of content that you're getting in the NFL offseason. I texted these guys this morning and said, "Hey, what do you want to do for the podcast tonight?" And Josh was like, "I don't know. We've got this bar fight idea we've been sitting on for a while. Why don't we do that?" And it's true. We have been sitting on this idea for a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and do that tonight. But beforehand, we're going to play a little game. I mentioned earlier in the chat that a fan favorite game is returning to Hot Stove today. And no, it's not Guess That College.
Thank God.
It's not Guess That College. It is a little game we like to call Player or Poser. So this is a game. I have 11 names picked out here. Each name, I'm going to give them out, and each of you will have the opportunity to say whether or not this player is a player on an NBA roster or a poser. So tonight it's NBA edition. Yeah, tell me whether or not they're on an NBA roster or they're a poser. Everybody gets to answer for each one. If you get it right, you get a point. It's that simple. All right? Do we understand the rules?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay. Then we're going to start. First name on the block for player or poser. Lindell Wigington. I want you to tell me whether Lindell Wigington is a player or a poser.
I got my answer.
Give it. Each of you gets to answer.
Yeah, I know. All right. He's real. He's a player.
I think he is too.
Poser.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go player.
Austin, you are incorrect. Lindell Wigington is a guard for the Milwaukee Bucks, and has been playing pretty consistent minutes because their depth is in the shitter. So that is a point.
Wigington.
That is a point for Mark. That is a point for Josh. And that is a point for the Sham.
I don't watch much NBA.
Next name, Nikola Mirotic.
That's a player.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a player. The Magic. He was on the Magic.
This is like a common player.
I guess player.
Maybe it's too common.
Yeah, maybe he tricked us. Maybe it's.
Wait, is his name like Nikita?
No, it's Nikola Mirotic.
Yeah, I know, but I'm thinking the real player's name is something like just slightly off. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think he might be pulling a fast one. I'll stick with player.
all right, I'm already behind. I gotta go poser on this one.
So Austin
seems
is
too
poser,
obvious.
Everybody else's player. Austin, you are correct. While Nikola Mirotic is a real basketball player,
He doesn't play in the NBA.
who has played in the NBA before, he left a couple of seasons ago and currently plays for FC Barcelona in the EuroLeague. So
I actually did know that. Now that you bring that up,
I did too. Yeah, I knew he was playing overseas.
I got tricky with it this time around. We're playing game. Last time it was too easy. Last time player or poser was too easy. Had to ratchet up the difficulty. So Nikola Mirotic is a poser, although he has been a player before. Next name. Name number 3. Caleb Dorsey.
What type of mayo-ass motherfucker? He's a baseball player. He's a college baseball player who had a home run yesterday. No shot. Poser.
Dorsey. I'm gonna say poser as well.
I'm gonna go player.
Player.
Oh,
Ooh, we've got a split here. Points on this one go to Josh and Austin.
come on!
There you go.
Caleb Dorsey is not a baseball player. He is a forward for Penn State University's basketball team.
Oh, so
I
he is
watched a
basketball
Penn
player.
State game last week. Son of a bitch.
He
I
is
knew I had
a
heard
Penn
that.
State basketball player.
I knew I had heard that name in a basketball game. And I was like, is he a college player? Fuck.
So as it stands right now, that's another point for Austin. Austin's up to 2 points. That's another point for Josh. Josh is up to 2 points. Mark and Adam both have a single point. The 3 players. Next name number 4. Dean Wade.
Player.
Oh, that's a
Player.
player. He played
Player.
for Kansas State.
Wade.
I also think I know that. Or yeah, I'll go player.
He's on the
called
Cavs,
him-
right?
All right, that was an easy one. Dean Wade is a
They called
player
him-
for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
All right.
Yeah.
They called him
Alright.
D Wade at Kansas State.
Yeah.
They did. That's true. I very much remember that. All right, that was an easy one. Okay.
I think I saw him on
Next
Prize
up.
Picks tonight.
Next up, Michael Mulder.
Poser.
I'm feeling player on this one.
I feel like I've heard that name.
Josh is
You might
dead.
have heard that name, but who says he plays in the NBA?
Poser.
He's a poser. That's right.
He's a pitcher for the Oakland A's back in the early 2000s.
All right. Well, Austin, you said player, right?
Yes.
Austin gets his 3rd point of the game.
There's another Michael Mulder?
Michael Mulder is a guard for the Orlando Magic.
Come on.
No way.
Next up,
No shot.
next up, name number 6, Darian Porter.
Sounds too good to be true. I don't know the name.
That's a basketball
but
name.
it's just like, yeah, this dude should play basketball.
That he's
Michael
he's-
Mulder was a baseball player's name, but
legitimately.
yeah. I don't
He was
know.
part of the 02
I'm going
Moneyball
poser
A's.
again. I'm going poser.
I'll go player.
I'll go poser with Josh here.
Adam.
Oh, I said
I think
poser.
so.
Sorry.
Okay. Mark, I'm sorry. He is a poser.
Mm.
Give me 1 second while I'm adding up points here.
It just seemed too good to be true.
Darian Porter is a defensive back for Iowa State University. He's a football player. So that's that. Number 7.
No way a guy named Darian goes to Iowa State.
Next up, a name you might recognize. DJ Augustine.
Oh, you bastard.
Oh, is he still in the
Is he
league?
still kicking around?
Poser.
Holy fuck! I don't know.
I think he's still a player. He's been good in his career.
yeah,
I don't
he was
s-
pretty good on the Magic there. I want to say he's on like the Rockets or some shit. Just like a no-name team that he would get
Probably
playing
not
time
on
on.
a. It's probably not on a team
A
that
good
young,
team.
but
Oh, that's true. Eric
go
Gordon
player.
starts there though. Yeah, I'm gonna
I'll
go
go
player.
player.
I think
Yeah,
he's
I
still.
think he's
I think he's
still
still
kicking
alive.
around.
I'm gonna say player as well.
All right. The 3 of you got that correct.
Hey, what
I
team's he
think
on?
I haven't missed one.
Is he
since the
back
first
on the Magic?
So,
on a roll.
candidly, this player comes with an asterisk. I added this one last minute because in the next couple of days, he will be signing a contract with the Los Angeles Lakers, who have just freed up cap space after releasing DeAndre Jordan. So
Wow. After that pass the other night, they just dropped him.
I didn't even know he was on the Lakers this year, to be completely honest.
With DeAndre Jordan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew Dwight Howard. I knew Dwight Howard backed up time I
Yeah.
thought, but
they're releasing him to sign DJ Augustine. So
shit.
that was a little bit of NBA news that that I wanted to put in there.
Not a
so that's
serious franchise.
That was another point for Josh.
Yeah.
Another point for Mark. Another point for Austin. All right. Austin is on fire. He's gotten all but one of them. All but one of these so far.
I mean, you could name a player who's on a team starting five, and I would not be able to tell you if they're a poser or not.
All right. Next name, Tony Bradley.
You just instantly hear something, you go, what?
Who's gonna lay their life out on the line first?
I'm gonna say he's a poser.
I'm gonna say player.
Player.
I definitely believe this is a player.
That is correct. Tony Bradley is a center for the Chicago Bulls. I put him on here because, first of all, he's not good. Second of all, he is averaging 3.1 points per game, which is the second lowest in the NBA among qualifying players. So, or second lowest. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. 3.1 points per game for Tony Bradley.
Will you tell us who the lowest is, or is he next on this in this game?
He's not next on the list. I just don't remember who it was. It was some loser I never heard. Next up, Gerard Simmons.
Poser. Just
Yeah,
going
I mean,
with the
your
gut
mind-
feeling.
Your mind takes you straight to poser because you think the name fits to be a player, and that's why you just got to go poser to go against the curve here. I'm gonna play a little strategy, kind of keep Mark off my tail here. I'm gonna go poser.
I think I'm on your tail, to be honest here, but
You and Mark are tied, aren't you?
I'm gonna go Gerard Simmons. Fuck. Poser.
Poser.
All four of you got that correct. Gerard Simmons is a basketball player. He's a forward for Hofstra University. A little background on that. I found that one because I was looking through the list of the worst college basketball teams in America, landed on Hofstra, and selected one of their players.
Didn't land on Syracuse?
Did not land on Syracuse, unfortunately. I didn't put any players from teams that people here root for because it would have been too easy.
No Patty Casey. I see.
No Patty Casey. All right, a little bit of a points update here. Mark has 4 points. Josh has. Mark has 1, 2, 3.
We got 5, don't I?
5. Mark has 5 points. Sorry. I forgot I wrote all for one of them instead of the initials, and it threw me off. Josh has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Austin has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And Adam has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got Adam and Mark with 5, Josh with 6, Austin with 7. 2 players to go.
Oof.
2 players to go. Next up, on player or poser, Trey Golden.
I think it's a player.
Trey Golden or Bolden?
Golden.
I got to make up ground on Austin, so I'm going to go poser.
Poser.
Player.
Mark and Adam have caught up here because Trey Golden is not a player.
Is there a Trey Bolden?
What?
I had the same first instinct Josh did. I was like, I think there's a Trey Bolden.
Like that
was
was the case, was not planned.
okay.
I had no idea. But Trey Golden is a guard for the Fujian Sturgeons of the Chinese Basketball League, and led the league, averaging 41 points per game last season. So
Taking over for my boy Jimmer. I see.
Trey
Pretty good.
Golden. So now Austin has 7 points. Everybody else has 6. It's a close game here as we head into the final.
I'll go first just for the kicks.
Sorry, little tidbit to take us completely out of the game here. Just, reference. I was talking about Lululemon earlier before we got into this thing. Also with Chip called the company Lululemon because he thought it would be funny to hear a Japanese person say it. That's why he named it Lululemon.
That's
One
awful.
little bit there.
I heard that.
That's terrible.
That's documented. Yeah, I mean that's brutal.
Yeah.
That's brutal. Sorry, just
Yeah, the
randomly
Chip,
thought.
by the way, Josh is referring to the CEO of Lululemon. If anybody was wondering.
Yes.
Final name here, like I said, 3 people with 6, Austin with 7. Trevlin Queen.
Oh.
Trevlin Queen.
Poser.
I'm gonna say a poser as well. There's no way. I feel like
I
I
gotta
heard
go
about
play.
this guy.
It's just too good to be true. It's money. It's a player.
Looks like we've got a 3-way tie in first place because Trevlin Queen is a player. He is a player. He's a guard for the Houston Rockets.
You should let me go first, Adam, because you all had to go opposite me.
I
Yeah.
was trying to get in second.
So,
Standalone.
Smart.
what the problem that this raises is that we have a tie. I don't like ties.
This isn't soccer.
So,
Hey, can we get a
What we're gonna
recount
do-
here? I think I had 8
let's see.
I think he did too, to be honest with you.
because I missed the first one and then I missed the last 2.
4,
Just the last 3,
6,
didn't you?
7, 8. Yeah, no, Austin had 8. Never mind.
Son of a bitch.
I just counted wrong. Sorry, everyone.
One of the viewers would have had me anyways.
Probably. They're much better at math than I am. So congratulations, Austin, for winning player or poser this time.
I need these points, Mark. I need these points.
We all get points.
At the end of the
Yeah,
game,
but I need the extra points.
Yeah, fuck you, Mark. You don't need these points.
I need
Nunez
these
is going to come
points.
up with 8 baseball questions next when we're still looking for baseball content because they're not playing until June.
Yeah,
Mark
June
now has
2023.
21 points on the year. Josh has 10. Austin has 9, and Adam Pallenberry has 7. So shout out to him. All right. Good job, everybody.
We were looking for Jordan McLaughlin. That's who has the least points per game in the league.
Thank you, Austin.
I
Did you just call
definitely
me?
would have said poser. If Jordan McLaughlin was on there, I
I've
would've
actually
gone
heard of this guy.
poser.
I would have said player, but
All right. Well, good job, everybody. Thanks for participating. Obviously, you didn't have a choice, but thanks for participating anyways. That does it for this edition of Player or Poser, and it's time to get into the content of the show. So, like I mentioned at the beginning, we've got ourselves a little discussion here as to basically, what 5 athletes we would want to accompany us in a bar fight. Bar fight is a very particular circumstance as well. It's not organized combat. It is some wild things. You're just throwing fists at the old watering hole. What athletes would you want to be with you? Couple stipulations going in. No combat sports athletes. That seemed unfair. And also no alleged or convicted violent criminals
Aaron
at O.J.
Hernandez.
Simpson or Aaron
Right.
Hernandez or Ray Lewis we decided is not eligible for this list, or I decided is not eligible for this list.
Number one on my list got taken away from me.
Yeah, let's be
5
clear, Ray
minutes
Lewis-
before the show started.
Ray
Sure,
Lewis
he was the
gonna be on
MVP because
this.
then you would get away with it too because your friends would just take the bail with for him.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of a cheat code.
Yeah.
Like everybody could have been like, "Oh, Ray Lewis, number one, haha, he killed a guy," But anyways, we're not doing that. So before we get into, I know Mark and I have some honorable mentions. Before we get into our actual honorable mentions and our list, I've got a list of dishonorable mentions. 5 athletes that I would not want to accompany me in a bar fight. So I'm going to read through those really quickly and get your guys' reaction to them. Number 5 on my dishonorable mentions list, Jamarcus Russell. The note that I wrote for Jamarcus Russell, fat and also lazy. There's that one story of that time where they sent him to do some film study by himself, and he came back with notes on the film that didn't exist.
It's a blank tape.
Yeah, it was a blank tape. Jamarcus Russell, lazy guy. I would not want him in a fight with me. He'd probably give up and leave pretty quickly. Number 4, Rodrigo Blankenship. Nothing against the guy.
On.
Nothing against the guy. I love him. I love his Lego collection. He seems like a really cool guy. But he weighs about 12 pounds soaking wet. And in some way, shape, or form, you got to have some sort of physical might to back me up in a bar fight. And that guy has none.
Counterpoint. You get the guy on the ground. You need someone to kick him in the head to knock him out. Rodrigo Blankenship.
Yeah, maybe.
Ooh, just
Why
take
don't you
Randy
just
Orton
take
at that
that-
point.
That super jack kicker for the Giants. What was his name?
Eldrick Rosas.
Well, but he's under
Honestly,
the question.
unfortunately, he was committed. He was
True.
suspended under the league's domestic violence policy. So,
Right after the last Giants kicker was, right?
yes, yeah, that guy.
Lawrence
Number
Tynes.
3. Number 3, Anthony Davis. I wasn't originally going to put Anthony Davis on this list, but I was crowdsourcing this from some people, and I got a really good quote from a friend of mine, Simon Brady. He said, and I quote, "Only place AD should be fighting is in a weenie hut general." I thought that was funny, so I put him on the list. Anthony Davis, number 3. Number 2, in conjunction with Anthony Davis, LeBron James. Physically intimidating, soft as baby shit. LeBron James, there's a 0% chance that LeBron James actually fights. 0. I don't want that kind of guy in my corner, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
He's not
Valid.
actually going to be there for me. I don't want him. LeBron, don't want him in a bar fight. Number 1, this is one I thought was pretty funny. Number 1 on my dishonorable mentions list, Bryce Harper. Generally an angry guy, right? Has gotten into fights in baseball, but here's the problem. He took an L to 2 people. He took an L to Hunter Strickland, and he took a fat L to his own teammate, Jonathan Papelbon. That guy can't fight to save his life. Even if he's going to start shit, I don't want him finishing it. Bryce Harper will not be backing me up in a bar fight. And that's, yes, Josh.
I have one that I just thought
Okay.
of while we were doing this.
Go.
Former U.S. gold medalist. You took it all as they're fat or nice. Right? The former U.S. gold medalist in figure skating, Johnny Weir. I don't want that guy on my team.
Johnny Weir's probably not very good at fighting,
No.
candidly.
Yeah.
Might be
What
able to
about
distract.
what about OKC KD? You think that might be a problem? He might want to leave the team if it's starting to go a little poorly.
Yeah, if it's not looking great, he might go to the other side of the bar and fight against me.
Larry
I-
Fitzgerald, I feel like, would be too nice. Maybe he wouldn't want to do it.
I just thought of another honorable mention. I've got a few here, but Nancy Kerrigan, most famous for just getting her shit kicked in. That's the figure skater that was attacked based on Tanya
Tanya?
Harding hiring someone. to
America's
take her
she
sweetheart.
got time to heart.
out.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nancy Kerrigan, I want nothing to do with her.
Weak.
I mean, what
Yeah.
about for just honorable mentions, like someone like a David Brown, famous Paralympic athlete?
Well,
Well,
Yeah,
that
that's
seems
true.
like you're punching low there.
Well,
Yeah,
I
can
mean, you
can
have
be
to, but
honest
he's in the
with you?
wheelchair. You gotta go
looked
down.
up most
What
famous
question?
special
Would you or
Olympic
would you not
athletes.
want Oscar Pistorius on your
He
team?
would
That was a
have been on
bad
my
joke.
list.
I'm sorry. He murdered his wife. All right. I'm sorry.
would have
sorry.
been on my list.
What?
Well, he was. See, here's the thing, Josh. He's an actual murderer. So committed a real life homicide.
Yeah, and I mean those things
so-
are weapons. You can detach them and give it to us to use.
Yeah. So maybe he would have been considered had he not murdered his fiance. That's
Also,
just a thought.
blades for legs.
Yeah.
Just
All right, we're gonna
literal
move on
knives.
here to our actual honorable mentions. People that we would like to mention as could back us up in a fight, but didn't quite make the list. Mark, I don't know how many do you have?
4.
Does anybody else have honorable mentions?
Uno.
Alright, John.
I have a single honorable mention as well.
Josh, give it to me. What's your honorable mention?
My honorable mention here. This is a guy who I just put on here because, like, logistically, at the first, it was like sounds really fun to have him, but then it doesn't really make sense in my mind. The great one, it's The Rock. Honorable mention because, for one, I don't think anyone wants to fight The Rock. One, he's too nice, and two, he's fucking built like a tank. So it's gonna deter some people from fighting and engaging. And then he was a former linebacker. You know, a couple rock bottom's a move you can always pull out, and it still is gonna hurt no matter what. So, you know,
He's certainly
very
a
trained with
physical
rock bottom.
force, which is something that I
Yeah.
did kind of take into account with a couple of my guys.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, Austin, what's your one honorable mention?
I mean, it was going back and forth on this one. They ended up in the 6th spot. The idea here is that even in a bar fight, people who engage in bar fights just they're usually, I don't know how to say it. They're not going to hit women unless they're really down to their backs against the wall. People in bar fights are like conservative guys who just want to beat the shit out of a guy and then go rape the girl he has with her.
Jesus Christ.
So I'm going to take Brittany Griner as my honorable mention.
That's such
Because-
a good answer.
Because I think that people would be like, "That's a woman. I can't do much with that." I mean, I just look like an asshole. Like if anyone
She
gets
could probably
this
fuck
on
you up,
film,
honestly.
and she'll fuck you up. Exactly. I mean, you're gonna lose. Someone gets you on film beating up Brittany Griner, you're fucked, right? But you're probably not gonna beat up Brittany Griner. So
Or do you let her beat you up and then you can get some material for later?
You shut the hell up.
material.
I'll do that.
Okay.
What
Oh
are you
yeah,
doing?
maybe I just got like a kink leg. I just wanted her to beat me up.
All right. In Jesus. Mark, what are your honorable mentions?
I've got for the old man crazy factor, I've got Ric Flair. Nature Boy would be excellent because he's just screaming the entire time and then maybe he'll throw a punch. Who knows? But the intimidation. That's what I get from the Nature Boy.
And
Is just
big
woohoo!
low blow guy.
Oh,
Huge
huge.
low
He'll
blow
just-
guy.
Oh,
He'll
huge
kick everyone
low
in the
blow.
nuts. It'll be great. I've got Aaron Donald, the size. Like in this type of scenario, most well known for breaking up a bar fight. When that guy initially accused him of beating the shit out of him, then the video surfaced and he was just breaking everybody up. But
Sure.
if you saw how he broke those guys up, that was effortless. Give me Aaron Donald to back me up any day. Pedro Martinez, because I know it doesn't matter how old or young the person may be, he will just throw them to the ground like he did Don Zimmer, who was a 98-year-old man at the time. So Pedro doesn't care, doesn't discriminate. He'll just help beat the shit out of anybody. The size isn't there, but hey, I know Pedro's got my back. And the last one, I'd never heard of this guy until I found him on a list. His name is Randall Simon. So this comes with a story. He was a baseball player. In 2003, he was playing for the Pirates. All right, and they're playing the Braves in Milwaukee. And you know, in Milwaukee they have the sausage races for like the people in the sausage costumes run around.
Oh, he's this guy. I know what story you're talking about.
Well, he decided to take a bat and hit one of the sausages in the head. Just because.
Jesus Christ.
What year? What year was this?
2003. He was fined $432 for disorderly conduct, suspended. That was like from the city of Milwaukee. Suspended by Major League Baseball for 3 games and fined $2,000 for almost killing a person.
That's it?
Oh, it's back in the day. I mean, what do you want him to do?
She was
back
fined.
in the day of 2003. Yeah.
By the way,
Surface time.
it was a college-aged woman who was in there, by the way, which he didn't know. You can't see in the mascot costume, so he had no idea. She was fine. He only made contact with like the mascot costume. He didn't make contact with any of her, but almost killed somebody. Give me give me Randall
props.
Simon.
Like
All right. Well, I got 5 honorable mentions here. We can blast through these ones real quick. These guys, I mean, all my list is just dudes who are dogs. This is what I like intangibles in a bar fight, right? That's a big thing to me. All these guys got intangibles. Number 1, Andre Johnson. You want to talk about a guy who was a dog, known to get into a couple scraps?
Oh, yeah.
Andre Johnson was one of them. Number 2, another dog, but on the basketball court. Zach Randolph. Zebo.
Oh, Zebo's a great one.
Dude was the epitome of grit and grind off the court, on the court. One of the most intense figures of the NBA of the 2000s. Zach Randolph, he's got the size. I would love to have Zach Randolph.
Tony Allen, oof. Any of those
Number
guys.
3, another wide receiver who's got some dog in him. Got into multiple fistfights over the course of his career. That's Michael Crabtree. Michael Crabtree, known to throw blows on the field. Another guy who's a dog. Especially if someone walks up to him and snatches his chain, he's getting his shit rocked. Right? Number 4 is the one professional wrestling entry on this list, and that's Stone Cold Steve Austin. You can't convince me that there is not another wrestler who's more badass than Stone Cold. And I want that badass mofo backing me up in a bar fight. Stone Cold's probably seen his fair share of bar fights in his day.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I want him in my corner for
Yeah, I
mine.
didn't even think about experience in that atmosphere. That's
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. I kind of.
And then my final honorable mention is the one that has a time restraint on it. And that is DeMarcus Cousins circa 2016. DeMarcus Cousins in 2016 was the biggest menace in basketball. Bullied everyone, ultimate badass, led the league in technicals for like 3 straight seasons. That era of DeMarcus Cousins was a beast. I would have absolutely loved to have that dog in my corner in a bar fight. Absolutely.
It's a good pick.
All right. We're going to move on to our list proper here. Start with number 5. Josh, who's your number 5?
All right. My number 5. He's crafty. Still around today. He's the closest thing I could come up with to Khabib. Okay? He's a dog. He's a grinder. He's a go-getter. It's Alex Ovechkin. Alex Ovechkin, there's something about the guy. He's not really scrappy. I mean, he's scrappy, big hitter. He can fight when he needs to. He's going to defend himself. Big Russian dude? Yeah. Yeah, I'll take that guy. Give me Alex Ovechkin.
All right. Adam, who's your number 5?
So I wanted to have one homer pick. So my number 5 is, in my opinion, one of the grittiest players on the Buffalo Bills, Dawson Knox. I think this guy would absolutely jack up anybody in a bar. He stiff arms the shit out of everybody. He's a
Yeah,
fucking
probably get
bulldozer.
hurt, though. Pretty
Who's the
easily.
pick? I'm sorry.
Dawson Knox.
Oh, okay.
This is an interesting pick. Not someone I considered, but I like it.
Yeah.
Austin?
All right. First, everyone has a specific reason, has a role on my team here. The first one is I'm going to label it as the bouncer. He's the guy who's going to scare people away from the fight that are not on my team, and he's the guy who's going to save me. So I'm the lead guy. If I get too much water here, too much trouble here, he's going to pull guys apart. He's going to pull me out. That's professional powerlifter and WWE superstar Mark Henry.
Yeah, the world's
This
strongest
guy's an
man.
absolute beast, and I mean, you could say Great Khali, those types of guys, but at the end of the day, Mark Henry's just way more coordinated than those guys, and he would be better in a tight situation where he's got to get stuff done. So that's my first guy, the bouncer.
So Austin, you took it as a 5-on-5 bar fight. That was your because I thought of it as I mean, I'm in a bar fight and I got one guy to back me up,
Yeah,
and then they
that's
all
what I
fit the
thought of.
one.
Yeah, I took it as that way at first, but then I was like, that's just too boring. I'm just gonna take the biggest,
That's
strongest
true.
guy. So then I turned it into
only
like
you
this
having yeah.
this team.
He's got a team.
Yeah, I like you having your own team. I'm
To be fair, I also kind of thought of it in a team aspect as well.
Okay.
But I like the Mark Henry pick. Strong guy. You know, you always got to have that one really strong. I have a guy who is inhumanly strong on my list that we'll get to at one point. But before that, Mark, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Hall of Fame pitcher Juan Marichal. Now you may be thinking, why does Mark have this guy from the 60s and 70s on his team? What's this pitcher doing here? Juan Marichal once was at the plate and got beamed by Johnny Roseboro, a pitcher for the Dodgers. So he charged the mound with the bat and started swinging at Johnny Roseboro's head. Same reason Randall Simon was on the honorable mentions list, but Marichal made contact, and plenty of it. Johnny Roseboro was not in good shape afterwards.
Jesus.
Now, a pool cue is a very similar style of a weapon to a baseball bat. So I think if I'm in a bar fight, you just get Juan the old pool cue, and he'll do some damage.
Genius thought process.
Yeah, that was great. It was great. All right. Number 5 for me, I mentioned it before we started recording that I have one guy who I have on here as the lunatic pick. I guess each of my guys have a theme, right? Number 5 is the lunatic. You might not think that he could be able to fight, but this guy can probably throw down because he's batshit crazy. And that's Mets pitcher Max Scherzer. They call him Mad Max for a reason. The dude is a psychopath, generally speaking. Never forget the video of him throwing BP or testing out his arm during a college graduation in Atlanta. Dude's got a cold heart and in the Bill Walton lane, but obviously he's like 30 years younger. Less old, probably stronger than Bill Walton. Max Scherzer might be the kind of guy to have like a knife in his shoe when it comes to a bar fight. Got it. Like he's one of those guys that pulls a switchblade out of his sock or something like that, like you see in the movies. Max Scherzer, certified Looney Tune, and I would love to have him on my squad in a bar fight.
I like it. It's a good pick.
I like that pick. My turn next.
Yeah, we're gonna keep going on that rotation. So
my number 4, I got a guy who's most certainly on Mark's list, and it's between 4 and 3 for me. But I think I can get one more before we go into it because Mark's gonna have stories about this guy, and I love him, but he only fits a certain mold. That's whatever. Number 4 on my list. We're gonna go to this is my lunatic pick also. Nunez, this is my last WWE guy, and I challenge you to think of one man who might be crazier in a bar fight than Stone Cold from the WWE. A man with split personalities in the ring. A man with 3 different personas. A man nicknamed himself Cactus Jack. A man who got thrown off a Hell in a Cell. A man who welcomes pain at all costs. He's lost feeling in most of his limbs at this point. He's literally doesn't care. I mean, he could take any pain in the world. Fucking lunatic Mick Foley. I mean, this guy's a psycho. He can take all the pain in the world. He can't feel anything these days. Just start running at people, Mick. He's got.
If you want to see it, watch Edge spear him into a flaming table at WrestleMania in 2006, or Royal Rumble 2001, his Extreme Rules match against Triple H for the heavyweight title, in which Triple H hit the pedigree on Mick Foley into a bed of thumbtacks.
Yep. Yeah,
dude is a certified crazy man.
Yeah. Who's up now? Adam?
Yeah, Adam's up next.
All right, my number 4, going off sort of the lunatic thing here, is a hockey player by the name of Brad Marchand, who, you know, is a good fighter, but
Ooh,
also
dirt
is known
bastard,
for
I
doing
like it.
for being a sick bastard. He licks people, he bites people.
I was gonna
He'd
say
get
after
in
he's
there.
done beating him up with you, he'll fucking give him a quick little
Yeah.
kiss on the cheek.
Yeah.
So-
And then that'll get people to stay the fuck away.
Love it. All right. This is where, you know, some people here would call this guy a criminal. You know, I mean, some people are going to call this guy a criminal. I don't know. I'm not, because I love this guy. My second guy, and I'll tell you what his role is here. His role is, I'm thinking, you know, I put some thought into this. I'm thinking you get these types of guys at the bar that we already mentioned. It's gonna be a pretty busy bar. These types of celebrities at the bar. There's gonna be a bunch of fans, a bunch of people crowding around. I want a guy who's not afraid to swing on a guy just for being a fan, and that is Ron Artest.
Yes. I mean, yeah.
I want a guy who's gonna let every civilian know that if he even walks near one of my guys, he's swinging on you. He doesn't give a shit if you're part of the fight or not. Get the hell out of here. And I mean, we already seen he throws lethal elbows on people who just made a layup on him or even tried to contest his shots. So, I mean, what would happen if you pissed this guy off? I have no idea. So Ron Artest is my solid civilian enforcer.
To be fair, Ron Artest was a pretty easy shoe-in for a lot of people. I don't have him on my list personally, but great pick.
Technically
great
criminal.
pick.
Technically, he did
That's
get
true?
assault
What
battery
crime?
charges.
For
malice
malice
to
to
malice.
malice.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was actually a crime. My bad. We'll let that one slide.
My next one. Also, maybe potentially technically a criminal, but he didn't face any actual charges for it. He was accused and suspended, but no charges were filed, and I went based on criminal charges, so screw it. This is a man that doesn't care who I'm getting into a fight with, man, woman, child, doesn't matter. It's James Harrison.
Oh, yeah.
It's James Harrison.
Oh God.
Never charged with any crimes. May or may not have gotten into a slight domestic incident with his wife once, but hey, it was brushed aside, settled out of court, no biggie. All right. So this is a guy, talk about a hard hitter. I mean, I know as soon as someone comes at me, James Harrison is coming from the side. You've seen those commercials he's in. He's going to come from the side, just nail him. Dead. On the ground, on the spot. So I want Big James. Dead. I want Big James to back me up in a bar fight.
All right, my number 4 pick. This might get dark for a second here. So you know what's one thing that doesn't mix well with bars? Sobriety. Nick Frost's character from The World's End, where he's sober, but then he starts drinking and he goes kind of nuts when they're fighting all the robot people. That's what I would imagine when my number 4 pick, CC Sabathia, shows up to back me up in a bar fight.
Jesus.
Now, to be fair to CC, the alcoholism was not the reason that I put him on this list. That was just a bit that I thought of while I was saying it. CC Sabathia is a genuinely intimidating person.
Yes.
He's huge. Absolutely huge. And he's got a lot of demons, right? Now, I hope that he's exercised those demons, hope that he's happy and living a great life in retirement. But if we ever need a guy to bring back the old demons of his past in a bar fight, CC Sabathia could probably fuck some dudes up. He's going to be my number 4 pick. He's probably strong as shit, too, honestly, if I had to take a wild guess. So he's also good throwing projectiles, of course, being a pitcher and all.
Damn, I'm really mad I closed out this article. I had some funny background on one of my guys. My next guy. I don't think I can get away from it for Mark anymore, and I want to intro the guy. This guy doesn't seem like the type of guy who you'd really want size-wise defending you. But in terms of overall scumbaggery, just the total embodiment of a douchebag, it's got to be this guy. Now, also, this guy, I'm praying that if I get into a bar fight, keeping it dark here, it's with African Americans because this guy will definitely be there to defend me. It's Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb is a piece of shit.
Not on my list.
Dude,
I
Ty
do not have
Cobb,
Ty Cobb.
I didn't think he was going to be on mine either. I knew he was a scumbag to like other players and his teammates. There's many reports of Ty Cobb also fighting with fans before. There was an incident of one time in Detroit, the groundskeeper, an African-American fella, the head groundskeeper, he didn't batten up dirt on shortstop. It wasn't to his liking, and so he beat the shit out of him. Ty Cobb is a psycho.
So not the biggest of hate crimes, Ty Cobb.
But yes, Ty
It's
Cobb.
like how shortstop was. He played the outfield.
I don't know. Dude, I don't know. It was in the article. So
No, I'm not saying
yeah,
I don't believe you,
He's
but
like,
what
"What? This wasn't tidied up. It didn't look good. I don't know. Maybe on his walk out, he was like, "What the fuck? Did I just step on a pebble?" This fuck. So yeah, Ty Cobb, known psycho, Ty Cobb.
Jesus Christ. Okay. All right. Adam.
All right, my number 3 is a teammate to my number 4. This is one of the most biggest and most, or some would argue, the best fighter in all of the NHL at his prime, Zdeno Chara. This guy's like 7 feet tall. He hits like a truck, and I think he would just beat the shit out of anybody he would come across.
I agree.
That's a solid pick.
We might be talking more about Zdeno Chara moving forward in this list.
Oh,
Someone I definitely thought of as well. So my number 3, let me just say it was a criminal. Then I recognized it couldn't be a criminal, so I made it another criminal who was less criminal. So you're just gonna have to deal with that. The theory behind this one was my honorable mention. I mentioned I want Brittany Griner because people are, hesitant to hit women. So I thought I would need a guy who would let loose on women if need be. So originally that was Ray Rice. And I don't want to talk up any of the actions he did, but we know that he would probably feel free to do something like that. But instead, I went towards a guy who was never convicted of anything. He's got a quick right. I'm going to go with Joe Mixon.
Oh, God.
I mean, if need be, what need be would involve a woman?
Ronda Rousey shows up?
All right, that's fair.
Ronda Rousey, Amanda Nunes. I need someone who can at least, try. Someone who would probably tweet equal rights, equal fights is all I need. That's all I'm saying. If you don't have that guy, see, I was tempted to put Ronda on mine because now she's a WWE superstar, and I was like, that's kind of a cop out. But I was tempted to do it just so everyone here, I could just say, I beat all of you guys because none of you guys are women.
I'd try, but I wouldn't have counted Ronda anyways because I don't count Brock, even though he's now a WWE guy.
Yeah.
My number 3, I'm going to dispute Adam's claim about maybe the greatest fighter in the history of the NHL, because this is David Tiger Williams. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with this man. Played in the NHL from 1975 to 1988 and holds a couple of career records in the NHL. The first one being most career NHL regular season penalty minutes with 3,971. And most NHL penalty minutes career, including the playoffs, 4,426. He holds the Maple Leafs record for most penalty minutes. Most penalty minutes in one season by a left wing, 351 in 1978. He holds most Canucks penalty minutes, most penalty minutes in one playoff year for the Canucks.
He
And
has
most
the
penalty
most penalty
minutes.
minutes for 2 different franchises.
Yes.
Okay.
He was the definition of an enforcer. All he did was come in and fight people.
That means
was his-
this guy averaged like 5.5 minutes per game.
Yes.
That's insane.
The guy is
I mean, there's got to be
greatest
plenty
fighter.
of game misconducts in there, right?
Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the guy is he's the greatest fighter in the history of the NHL.
Interesting. Number 3 for me is the guy I talked about earlier, the strong man. Not a strong man in the same way that Mark Henry is a strong man, who is an actual strong man. I'm going to go with the guy who probably in my mind is pound for pound the strongest man in the NBA currently, and that is the Kiwi, Steven Adams. Now, generally a pretty fun-loving guy, but if you've ever seen Steven Adams be involved in some sort of an altercation, he's usually picking dudes up and just carrying them across the
who
court.
did he baby not long ago?
John Morant.
Was it Ja?
I think it was Ja, right?
Well, they're teammates, so that would be weird. But
Yeah,
No, I
he
thought
picked
like
someone
he was...
up, pulling him away from John Morant.
Oh,
yeah.
But yeah,
I forgot
he
who
picked someone up by the shirt and just moved him.
ragdoll someone across the court. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is purely strength based, similarly to what Austin was talking about with Mark Henry.
Oh, it was Tony Bradley. It was Tony Bradley. Sorry, I looked it up. He picked up Tony Bradley. Who was on
Tony
our
Bradley, center? Tony Bradley?
we were talking about earlier. That's who it was. It was Tony Bradley.
That's impressive. I want that strong man on my squad. That's it. That's all I had to say about Steven Adams.
I like it.
Josh, that's your cue.
That's my cue. I
You gotta be
guess I
saying
was-
the guy's name. I think you're saying here at some point.
No. There's not. There's this guy is definitely not on anyone else's list. At least I don't think so. I think Burb originally turned me on to this guy, former Bronco, psycho in his own right. That's gonna be Bill Romanowski. Let's
That
take
dude
a
was
look.
a crazy person.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the things that Bill did. So first off, we brought up Marchand earlier. Bill also known spitter, would constantly spit in teammates and opponents' faces, forms of intimidation maybe. He broke someone's jaw on a helmet-to-helmet hit in a preseason game. So never quits, always going 100%. He's been fined for throwing the ball at Brian Cox's dick. That's just, he'll fight dirty. He'll fight dirty for sure. He was trying to find a total of $45,000 for, quote, multiple illegal hits, one of which included a punch thrown at Tony Gonzalez, and probably most brutally of Romanowski's, incidences here was an incident of accused roid rage on his own teammate Marcus Williams in 2003 at an altercation during practice in which he knocked out his eye socket. So yeah, this dude's a fucking psycho. He's a big, like 6'2", 225 linebacker, and he's gonna fucking kill people for me. So yeah, Bill Romanowski.
That
Yeah.
should be a criminal.
yeah, true. That guy off the streets.
I mean, Josh, I think we both have the same last guy, but
Oh, maybe I'm missing someone then, but I don't know.
you might be. All right, Adam.
Well, we got to
All
get
right.
Adams to first.
Some would argue why my number 2 and number 3 are in the order that they are, but as a homer, I have to put this guy ahead of him. This is a guy who is another hockey player, and who is very tough and very strong. It is Shea Weber.
Shea Weber.
Oh, this guy's a big hockey fan.
I mean, they're the ones who fight the most outside of professional fighters.
They do
This
be
guy was-
fighting often. That's true.
This guy was
Very
fighting
true.
every scrum. He was in there. And going off what Mark said earlier about the pool cue theory, they make a better baseball bat than a hockey stick, but I want a guy in there who's won, slap shot competitions for hardest shot.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Totally fair.
All right, Josh, the guy the guy that was going to be my last pick. I'm going to mention him on my last pick, but he's a criminal. All right, so
He
this
had to
guy's
look that
also,
one up. He's like, actually, he's a criminal.
my number 2 is also a criminal. And it's been already mentioned on the show today. That's a guy who knows packing. That's Gilbert Arenas.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. If the fight is going sour, you need a guy who has such a fragile
Who
ego.
might have a trauma.
You can't just like be done with the fight and lose. When they're turning their backs and walking away from a one fight, he pulls out a gun and says, "Oh yeah, you think you fucking won?" And he guns these people down. I mean, at the end of the day, you just need a guy like that on your squad.
Gilbert Arenas, known bringer of assault rifles to team facilities. So
and if he's gonna pull a gun on a teammate, what's he gonna do on a guy who's fighting him?
Austin, for all of those reasons, Gilbert Arenas is also my number 2. I could not make this list without Gilbert Arenas. He was going to be my number 1 until I asked Nunez for some clarification, and I put the guy I have at number 1. Yeah, it's not that he might have a gun on him. He will have a gun on him. Nunez mentioned earlier, Max Scherzer might be the guy to have a switchblade in his sock. Gilbert Arenas is the guy to have a Glock tucked in the back of his pants. You just know it's there. So there's no question in my mind that if I get into a bar fight, people will be murdered. And it will not be on me. It will be on Gilbert Arenas because he shoots everybody.
And this is why Ray Lewis was such a good pairing with Gilbert Arenas, because Ray Lewis would get us off. Get us all off.
Oh, so that was Austin's thought process with this whole thing.
Yeah.
He went really strategic.
It's him. That's the guy that did it. None of the rest of us did anything. He killed everybody.
Also, honorable mention in that respect, Plaxico Burress as well.
Yes.
He just didn't do it successfully. Number 2 for me has already been mentioned, Zdeno Chara. Newest record holder for most games played in NHL history by a defenseman. And you want to know how he christened that one in? With a fist fight. One of the first things he did when he got on the ice the other night in his record-breaking game was get into a fight with a player on the other team. This dude is huge. He's huge. He hits hard. He punches hard. He punches a lot. Zdeno Chara is like a fucking mountain. And as a person who's not very tall, I like having tall dudes around me, which is why I've got 7-foot Steven Adams, 6'8" Zdeno Chara, and 6 foot, however, CC Sabathia backing me up here. I'm not a tall guy. I want some dudes with some intimidation factor. Zdeno Chara absolutely has that.
Yeah. I love that. I love that pick. It's a good pick. My last guy, I hope I'm not forgetting someone, Austin. I think I am, though, with your commentary there. I also chose a guy from an earlier dispute that you had, but I felt like that guy was too easy, and I was actually forgetting the other guy who probably caused the whole thing. That was a lot. But if you picked up on what I was putting down, I chose Ben Wallace.
Yeah.
Ben Wallace is a freak. I went upstairs before this, and I asked my sister's boyfriend. Sorry, I was like, "Hey, man, we're doing this thing for the podcast. What are some guys that you think, who would you name?" First name that came to mind. Well, first he was saying other stuff, and then I'm like, it doesn't have to be like current day. You can be poor. So he goes, "Oh, Ben Wallace." Instantly, and I go, Ben Wallace, and he goes, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Oh my god, of course, Ben Wallace." Ben Wallace, defensive nightmare, big fucking dude, just a freak, built man. He's a brawler. He'll go after Ron Artest, and that dude was a psycho. And he was like, "Fuck you, Ron, you bitch. Sign me up." Ben Wallace, of course. Ben Wallace.
Was this the Malice at the Palace, by the way, that we're referencing?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank God I knew that at least.
For a second, I thought you were going to go Jermaine O'Neal, which also would have been a great pick.
Yeah.
Anyone involved in the Malice at the Palace is a great pick.
All right, Adam. Who's your
My number 1. So, I wanted a guy who was going to be a complete and utter game changer to this fight, right? Picture this. Fight's coming to a close. Your side of the fight's almost won, and there's like this one guy left who's like alive. He's crawling, he's getting up, and all of a sudden, some guy comes from the outside and just decapitates him. But number one, Vontez Perfect. This guy, I mean, Antonio Brown is one apple short of a fritter because of that hit on him in the playoffs. This guy would just absolutely destroy somebody in a bar fight.
Yeah,
That's a great pick.
it's a great pick. I thought he was a criminal. Is he not?
Oh,
Is
it
that
said
just-
No, I
misdemeanor.
don't believe he's actually a criminal.
Oh, see, I thought
He
he
is
was.
a
I didn't
misdemeanor.
consider him.
Yeah,
For
in
battery.
Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Who
probably
doesn't?
should be a criminal. But
All right, Josh, are you ready for the ultimate honorable mention here because he is a criminal? In 1996, this athlete sliced open a 17-year-old's head in the ring and left him for dead on the ground and walked out of the ring.
No.
New Jack.
It should have been New Jack. It was always New Jack. He did actually. Yeah, he was attempted murder. He got accused. Yeah.
yeah, I think.
Oh.
Well,
Fuck,
no, but
I
he
mean,
continued fighting far after doing these things. But he did also do things outside of
I mean, he actually killed someone. He was a bounty hunter. That was his job.
Yeah, so actual criminal. This guy would bar fight. This guy on your side is.
Damn it, that was the best pick. Fuck.
Then Adam made me switch up there because I also had Vontez Perfect until very, very recently. But I finally went on a guy who allegedly his draft grade went up in 2009, I believe. His draft grade actually went up after he was caught eye gouging Tim Tebow in a college football game. That is Takeo Spikes or Brandon Spikes. Sorry, not Takeo Spikes. Brandon Spikes. Famous for eye gouging, and they said they caught him so many times on tape doing it that they actually raised his draft grade and said he was a mean player. So that's a guy. I thought Vontez Perfect was a guy, but then I was like, but if he's close combat, he doesn't have a head of steam. He's not really doing what he was born to do. You know, decapitate people with his head. Maybe he would get a couple headbutts in, but you get into a real scrum. You got an eye gouger. Nobody's joining the fight. Nobody's getting near.
It's a great pick. New Jack was also a great pick as well.
New Jack. If that was allowed, I mean, that's just.
That was allowed. You won, dude. He beats them all.
All right. So this one, I had to make number one. Now, there are some criminal things with this man, but nothing violent. It may be a thing or two with a vehicle, but nothing that
O.J. Simpson.
he directly did. No, not O.J. Simpson. This is a man who once ruined a man's career on the football field by snapping his leg in half.
Yes.
This is Lawrence Taylor.
Great pick.
There is no one on this planet I want backing me up in a bar fight more than Lawrence Taylor. His goal when he stepped on the football field was, I'm going to see if I can kill someone today. And he almost did it with Joe Theismann. He came pretty close. That son of a bitch almost did it. Now, like I said, there are some very iffy things on the rap sheet of Lawrence Taylor, but they have nothing to do with his ability to get into a bar fight.
Cocaine's not violent.
It's
Cocaine.
Trust me,
Cocaine
it's
ain't never hurt
much
nobody.
worse than that. It may or may not involve a 16-year-old girl, but that has nothing to do with it.
Oh no, that's the guy you were talking about.
Yes, I was talking about Lawrence Taylor.
Oh,
I didn't find that out until today because I was like, oh, Lawrence Taylor, he'll be perfect. And I was like, let me make sure he's not a criminal. And then I see the section on his Wikipedia page, run-ins with the law, and I was like, oh no.
Damn, there's a whole section.
That's a
There's a whole section of his Wikipedia page.
So there are some issues, but nothing violent. Nothing that, didn't murder anybody like Ray Lewis or O.J. Simpson. Just some very major nonviolent crimes.
All right. Well, let me set the scene for you here for my number one pick. The year is 1997. The month, December. The time period, the beginning of the 1997 NBA season. Here we have Golden State Warriors practice. This Golden State Warriors team had an all-star the year previous. That all-star in practice wasn't performing up to the level that the coach thought he was. That coach, PJ Carlesimo, the head coach of the Warriors at the time, implored that all-star to make some better passes in practice. That all-star responded by, quote, threatening to kill his coach while dragging him backwards by his throat and choking him for so long until his teammates were able to pull him off of the coach. Once separated, with this all-star gone, things seemed to have cooled off, only for him to return 20 minutes later after showering and punching the coach in the face. This player was then suspended for a year by the NBA, and they voided his contract, causing him to lose $23.7 million over the following 3 seasons. That player's name is Latrell Sprewell. Latrell Sprewell was a good player. All-star, was it 4-time All-NBA, I think? Who knows? Who cares? 4-time All-Star, first-team All-NBA in 1994. Who attempted to murder his coach after being asked to do better in practice. You want to talk about a guy that combines tenacity, intent, strength, not giving a fuck. All of that together, Latrell Sprewell is my pick for who I want to back me up in a bar fight. Because he's going to go. He went there with the head coach of his team. Tried to kill him. Lost a shit ton of money and a whole year of his career because of it. And he'll go there in a bar fight.
That's a great one.
That's my pick.
Great pick.
It's my number one pick. Yeah.
That was fun. Do we have an objective? Do we also think our teams are the best? If you think about it like a team, Austin was kind of convincing him that his team might be able to kick my team's ass. I feel like Ty Cobb is a liability. He really is. But against Austin's team,
Yeah, because he's tiny, right?
Ty Cobb may be
Yeah,
maybe the guy. Against Austin's, maybe
Well, yeah,
Ty Cobb.
but you got to think that if I got New Jack joined the WWE with his agent saying, "I just want to fuck up white people."
Yeah.
So
That thing he did.
Yeah, he
that
was
would be
psycho. He never.
Yeah, I was just reading a
technically-
biography on him. Yeah.
He made it to ECW. He never technically was signed by Vince McMahon in
Yeah.
WWF, but he was a psycho. Nunez.
Okay.
After this, we'll show you some picture. He legitimately stabbed a man in a wrestling match. Stabbed with a knife. He then tased said man and threw him off of what they called what was it called? A platform match. And so like 40 feet above the ring was just a wooden platform. And he threw man off platform down onto nearly the
Cracked
outside
his
of the ring.
skull.
God.
Yeah, I'll show you the video after this.
Okay. All right. Well, that was fun. I had some fun with this episode.
Mm-hmm.
It got weird. I'm definitely going to have to put the NSFW tag on
This
this
is
one.
an After Dark episode.
What?
You know what? Honestly, I think this is an After Dark episode.
This whole time I could have been like this?
We probably should have determined that beforehand. I could
Yeah.
have seen this one coming, to be honest with you. But anyways, this is not episode 56 of the Hot Stove Podcast. This is Hot Stove After Dark. We talk about dudes murdering people for over an hour.
Oh man, I don't know if this will ever see the light of day.
No, it'll be great. It'll be great. All right. We'll put it out. It'll have minimal views. It'll be fantastic. Anyways,
Nice.
Housekeeping stuff. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Hot Stove Pod. That's at Hot Stove Pod on Twitter. Here on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Hit the notification bell as well if you feel like notifying yourself when we put out new shit. New episode next week, probably. New radio show next week, next Tuesday morning, 9 a.m. on WQAQ. Check out my stuff on Grapevine Media. What's in the Box Score with Mark Rowlands and Rick Wiener. And Outside the Box Score every Friday at 2 p.m. on Colorcast. Our plugs are getting really long at this point.
We all do many things.
Yeah. That does it for this episode of the podcast. For the four guys who have joined me today, I'm Zach Nunez. Thank you for watching. We love you, and we will see you next time.
Yep.
Peace.